Yeah, like I think what's interesting is like there's different strata of places that you can start getting advice, right? Because it's like, okay, what do you tell a AAA marketing manager? I'm like, I don't know, like what do you tell the heir to like to the Walmart fortune? It's like be gracious when you get the Ferrari. It's like it's just a different world, right? And it's like I've been in it, and it's one of those things where it's just like you kind of think about like you're driving through town, right? And like just to pick on GTA 6 because they'll be okay, despite what I have to say about it. But like you look and like they have like billboard ads on the highway, and it's like who in God's name is buying billboard ads in 2024, right? And the answer is one, like GTA 6 and Rockstar, because they ran out of money to spend in other places, right? Because their marketing budget is as big as their development budget usually, right? But the other two is like that game is so big and such a pop cultural like tentpole that even though all of us know GTA 6 is coming, right? Like our mom doesn't, and she's got to figure out Christmas, right? And so like getting like being able to reach even outside of like the customer base is valuable to them. At a smaller scale, like you're not going to get there with your first game unless you're really lucky, right? Um, I would say like to folks that are kind of more like like kind of like just still getting to that point. I would say start marketing earlier than you think you should. Get your Steam page up, start talking to people, start getting some content out there. Also, but what you should be doing early on also is validating your audience. It's very easy to think you're making a game for people that like X, and it turns out you're making a game for people that like Y. And knowing who you're talking to and who you're trying to reach basically gives you a much better target for where your effort and your resources and your money is going to go. And the other thing I would say is start community as early as you can too. Like giving people who are interested in what you're doing a place to go and a place to share that excitement will make you money. It doesn't feel like it, but like if you have 100 people in your Discord, that can turn into 1,000 really quickly. Another thing I would say too is even if you're a single player game, word of mouth marketing is the most effective, cheap, like guaranteed way to get more people playing your game. Find a way to measure that. If that's giving people referral codes who wishlist the game or join the Discord, start looking at or when you're playtesting, give people who playtest the game, who bother to download on Steam and give you feedback, give them like 3 referral codes for the next playtest. So see what happens when people say, oh yeah, I like this game. I want to tell a friend about it. See if they actually do, and then see what happens when that person signs up, if that person signs up, right? That's going to tell you at a certain point when, like that might actually be a better indicator of readiness than anything else you do, is when you start reaching that point where like people are banging down the door to play and the only way to get in is to find a friend and all those friends have used up all their codes, right? Then you've got, I mean, that's a fucking phenomenon, right? But even just seeing that number accelerate, like, hey, referral percentage was 5% this time, then 15% 6 months later. Now it's 30%. These are amazing numbers, by the way, but like it's just to put the number, just to explain the number of the concept. If that number is going up and to the right, it means chances are the experience is improving and more people want to be with you along the way. And that's just a great indicator. I think that you're at the very least going in the right direction. And at the most, you've got something that can actually scale beyond your actual marketing efforts.
Totally. One real quick thing that I wanted to mention about, so earlier you were talking about GTA 6 and billboards. And I think tying it back to like large scale teams, mid to large size studios, whether you're at a publisher or whether you're one of these venture backed like Riot Diaspora startups or whatever, chances are, I think most of them are taking a more intelligent approach. But like I think a lot of marketers and like to some extent like studio heads that aren't like in the weeds on this stuff as much look at what does good game marketing look like, and they think like it's a kick-ass CG trailer, it's like a ton of press, it's big creators, big influencers, like the top ones, like XQC or whatever streams the game and likes it or whatever. It's those kinds of signals. It's the billboards, it's the Game Awards spot for your kick-ass trailer that costs $500,000 or whatever. And all of those things have a place for a certain kind of game with a certain kind of mass appeal and a certain kind of budget and a certain stage of its maturity as a brand. You probably are not there yet. And going back to what we said at the very beginning about nichification, the actual advice, I think, to like, you probably think you're bigger than you are. And the place to start to get big is to find your niche or niches. And so like that's where you, if you're a games marketer or a studio head and you're thinking about product market fit and where do we go build an audience from, you need to figure out what the niche for your game is, what's an underserved or interesting niche. And that doesn't necessarily have to impact product strategy or design. Like it could be, go figure out, like if you're on the marketing side of things, go figure out where to go fishing, right? Where are the niches that are going to be a good fit for this game that you've already built to this point, and validate that. And that gives you a ton of really actionable insight about where you can actually spend money in the future. You found your golden cohort, as like the growth hackers would call it or whatever, and you can kind of grow out from there. And you get to billboards probably after like 5 or 6 games in a couple decades, and you have the next GTA kind of property, and you can then you can worry about brand marketing and getting in front of that really mass appeal audience, like Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate. Those examples we were talking about.
That one's going to be up there. I was just thinking about Elden Ring. I'm like, Elden Ring is going to be on a billboard. That's for darn sure.
100%. And like that's
and should be.
And that's I think most game developers, designers, whatever, are probably thinking about Elden Ring as like a great success scenario, and not thinking about all of the advantages and investment that game has had over a very, very long period of time, or that studio has had, and that series, if you kind of capture all the Souls-likes together. So it's like don't think smaller necessarily, but think more strategically and narrowly about your and specifically, narrowly is the wrong word, specifically about who your audiences are. Go and then test early. And figure out if you're right.
There's a theme that's coming up for me, and I meant to say Elder Scrolls, not Elden Ring, but both apply. Whenever Elder Scrolls 7 is coming out, that should be on a billboard.